Which country lies entirely above 1,000 meters? Which sea has no shores touching any continent? Which country has more lakes than rest combined? Which city is built on 7 extinct volcanoes? Which country has territory in all 4 hemispheres? Which is world's only double landlocked country? Which country's capital lies below sea level? Which island is farthest inhabited from mainland? Which country has no rivers but many wadis? Which ocean is shrinking due to plate movements? Which continent has no native species of ants? Which country has world's largest pyramid by volume? Which island nation has no rivers at all? Which sea is world's lowest natural point? Which country has highest waterfall in the world? Which desert receives almost zero measurable rainfall yearly? Which city is world's coldest capital? Which river forms border between China and North Korea? Which country first allowed women to become pilots? Which ocean touches the fewest continents? Which city has the world's oldest operating university? Which is the world's most sparsely populated country? Which island is divided among 3 nations? Which country hosts world's largest salt flat? Which city is nicknamed Paris of the East? Which is world's largest peninsula by area? Which country is known as Land of Fire? Which river has the highest discharge volume worldwide? Which European country has no airport at all? Which is world's largest delta by area? Which sea is entirely enclosed within one country? Which mountain lies on the Italy-France border? Which country is world's top olive oil producer? Which ocean is warmest overall? Which country's flag is square-shaped? Which lake is world's deepest? Which country invented fireworks? Which African nation has both Atlantic and Mediterranean coasts? Which desert covers most of Botswana? Which city was once known as Edo? Which river crosses the equator twice? Which continent has world's lowest birth rate? Which island is shared by Haiti and Dominican Republic? Which city lies at confluence of Blue and White Nile? Which strait connects Red Sea and Indian Ocean? Which is smallest continent by land area? Which African nation was never colonized? Which ocean current warms Western Europe? Which sea lies between Arabia and Africa? Which desert is world's largest hot desert?